Hello and welcome to yet another video review for the Wind in the Willows series. This week, one of my all-time favourites, absolute classic, Paperchase. Many of you fans will know this episode well. It has been available on the Spring Follies video for many years, and it is a real classic. Episode 1 from series 3. So let's kick straight into it. Very relevant because the race for lions are happening around the UK at the moment. So I'm going to press play right now. Okay. So, like I say, Paperchase, I know awfully well. On that Spring Follies video, along with The Great Steamer and Mayday, which I reviewed recently. It's got so much in it, this episode. First of all, it's got almost all the characters. You've got lots of weasels, you've got lots of youngsters, Billy Rabbit, and it's just very funny, really funny episode. It's got a good story, well constructed, and the animation is fantastic. It's one of Jackie Cockle's episodes, and you've got Sue Pugh and Paul Berry, fantastic team again. Yeah, and it's just wonderful, wonderfully funny. One of Brian Truman's best scripts, I think, this one. So, it's set in spring, of course. I've set it for this week because it gets me thinking about, school holidays sort of coming up. I obviously reviewed School Days last week, but yeah, my two children will be off school fairly soon, so it just seems very apt. It feels like a holiday type episode. Where all the characters take place in this Paperchase, which is an old English kind of sport. It's like a race, basically, that you follow a trail of paper. But first of all, we open with this lovely scene in Toad Hall, where the four friends are just kind of going about their, I would say usual routine, just relaxing, sort of indulging in eating and drinking at Toad Hall. There's Toad being Toad. I mean, look at that messy bib already. All the food going down it. I mean, look at this animation of Toad. Absolutely superb. So many clear poses there. See the double blink there? So really quick blinking and kind of realisation. I like this shot of Ratty and Mole. Kind of when Mole turns, you can see both of them turning and evidently following Toad as he's walking over towards Badger, taking the last cream cake. And that was unexpected, wasn't it? For all of us. It's a lovely shot, that broken glass as well. Not sure what was used for the cream cake. It's not. I wouldn't have thought real cream. So, interesting, just then we just saw the opposite view of Toad Hall, which we don't see often. But it does vary. Continuity not quite working. I mean, in future episodes there's actually a kind of a water fountain there, which still exists today. But yeah. The music, you can just about hear the music in the background there. It's a track called Nickelodeon. Not released, but I've got it on CD. Now this animation is lovely. Where Toto, what do you mean no, he's listening? And the eyes just moving there. He goes back. So it's Badger basically telling Toad, oh well, you were a youngster once and you were just as bad. You broke a window, and they're not antique windows anymore, they're more modern than that. Haven't been broken before by a Toad. And this is good. Now that line there, the film I says you said we shouldn't play near water. Now it's interesting because Ratty did say that in The Great Steamer, which was actually another episode on this video. It preceded this on the Spring Follies video. So there's continuity in the video releases, even though this episode is much later than The Great Steamer. So Ratty gets this idea of a Paperchase, And he's selling it like it's a great thing for the kids to do, you know, to not be bored, gives them something else to try out rather than playing ball. And they think it sounds really exciting. They get all excited, they think, wow, I mean, look at that excitement. And shrew, we use a shrew. I just love the Paul Berry's animation of Toad's eyes. I mean, it's so fantastic. He really embraces them. And look at Ratty's smile there. Now, I've said before that the smiles are achieved by poking Allen keys into the ears, certainly in Ratty's case. And there's another, I believe, another socket in their backside somewhere. So here we go, here's Toad. Another enthusiasm coming, and just shows how childlike Toad is. I mean, here's Ratty coming up with an idea for the youngsters to do. And now Toad's already thinking, because there might be a prize, he should take part. And you've got Ratty, Mole and Badger being very sensible about it all. You know, it's just meant for the youngsters, but they all get involved, help run it, which forms obviously the bulk of the episode. And Toad, of course, is the only one who takes part. Apart from, we'll find out in a moment, but it will be the Weasels as well. So, look at Toad, you know, he just chucks the paper. Music now, track called Coming Home. All these incidentals, you know, as Peacock would, the co-composer very kindly gave me this CD many years ago, before the CD that's available now was released. I like that line that Ratty has, with some of the more sensible rabbits, as if there are a lot of rabbits who aren't sensible, like lots of, I don't know, youngish rabbits. Billy Rabbit you could consider sensible, but Billy Rabbit of course takes part in the race. And I like this, it's kind of like a round table discussion. They're being very sensible about it. They're, you know, working out how to do this, you know, Badger being very sensible. And it sets up the kind of joke later of the booby prize. I love this. Shot of all of them, so you get Ratty, Mole and Badger and then Toad. Beautifully constructed. Now there's Toad in his sort of running outfit, and that still exists today in the archive in beautiful condition. Every part of it. So I'll put a picture of that up. Look at that fall down the stairs. Now he's fallen down the stairs many times. We've already seen before, and we will see in many other episodes. Every time it's slightly different. So Toad's talking about buying the cup when he's won it. Assuming, as all Toad always does, he assumes he's going to win. He assumes he's the best. Only Toad can be the best. Love that little field mouse running off there. It's got a beautiful look as well, this episode. I mean, we've gone from interior kind of shots now to the rest of the episode now is all outdoors. It's all in the grounds of Toad Hall and beyond. You can see here we are actually in the grounds of Toad Hall. I mean, look at the distance there. You've got some gates there. And false perspective, of course, that would have been much smaller than it seems. This is where a lot of the comedy comes from. The two weasels here, the henchman posing as the chief's son, called Aloysius. I don't quite know whether Badger believes he is his son or he knows it's the henchman, but he's happy for them to take part anyway. There we go. Now, this is important though, we get this close up of the number 31 because it is important, as we'll find out later. And you can really feel this when the chief pins it. We hope it hasn't gone through his flesh there. This is great. Now that comedy, you can understand when you really analyse it. It's simple on the face of it, him saying no dad, a chief, a dad in that order. But if you think about the thinking behind that, it just makes sense for the chief, the henchman to be thinking, no, Dad, and then he's thinking, Badger's gone, I can call you Chief, and then he's thinking, oh no, I've got to keep up the act, no, Dad. So, to do it in that order, wonderful, wonderful writing, and just beautifully delivered by Brian Truman on both counts. Now, a lovely montage here with the music, so-called silent comedy. Everyone getting ready for the race. See Billy Rabbit there and the hedgehog. It's lovely the way this all starts. I love the Chief's eyebrows when they go up and down. Now, here we go. So this reveals everything about what the weasels are really up to. They've picked a place where another weasel takes part. They've been stupid. You already see the other weasel's got off with a different shirt. Now here's Toad, just doesn't care here, just tramples through the flowers. All those lovely toad statues in the background.
Mr. Toad, not that way.
I mean, it seems so vast, doesn't it, Toad Hall? And all these bits of set that would have been created. Kind of generic pieces, I guess these would have been. And here goes Toad, there's his beautiful car. What a cheat he is. You know, we already know what he's up to now. Unbelievable. The fact that he's got no conscience. I think deep down he does later on, you know, when he's trying to cheat at something in his other episodes where he cheats as well, like the Grand Annual Show, which I'll review in the summer. And he, you know, we know he's not a nasty character, Toad. We know that he means well, really, but he just really wants to be the centre of attention and everything else. His sense of morale and you know, what's right and wrong, it goes out the window because of that. So we assume he would feel guilty conscience later. Once the others give him the telling to, even though we don't really quite see that in this episode. Look at that detail there, taking a fly out the drink. Now, I don't know if the director would have thought that or whether it was Paul Berry. It's lovely. You actually can't believe Toad's winning. Now that would have been a hard shot to do when you've got characters coming front onto camera and Toad going away from camera, of course. There, side on, it's always much easier because you're progressing that way. You can see, you know, the increments very clearly. When it's coming towards you, the only increments you've got are all around the character. So if the character's coming towards you and they're getting bigger, obviously, it's very easy to go slightly one way or the other to keep it central. You've got to be even more focused, I think. Certainly my experience. Look at that, number 31 is upside down there. And this is a third weasel. Here comes Toad again, so Mole can't believe. Toad's not in the lead, of course, the weasel's ahead of him. Now Toad nearly giving it away here. Look at that, all pantomime. You know, we've seen that in the film before where Toad's reenacting kind of, you know, sitting in the motor car and controlling it, you know. Always, you know, I love that sort of thing when it's pantomime. It's challenging. And this Billy Rabbit is very central to this episode, certainly from this point onward. He's a lovely little character, beautiful little puppet. I think he's a fantastic creation. You know, it gives the, you know, the other characters are adults at the end of the day, even though Toad is childlike. But it gives them you know, it really defines them as adults when you've got little youngsters like that. I mean, I always wonder how old the characters are. I guess Toad is probably in his 20s, late 20s. The other's probably slightly older, 30s. Not Badger, of course, is a lot older, I would say. Seeing as Badger was friends with Toad's father, which comes up in many episodes, of course. So here we go, the grand finish. Best part of the episode, really, this whole scene. And everything culminates, everything comes together, everything's resolved. Here we go. So just beautifully edited as well. All these shots of all the main characters shouting, and then you see the main runners. I love the animation of the rabbit in the background and the hedgehog still cheering. Best line ever now. He ran faster than I did.
Still, you did awfully well, Toad. I don't want your
What a bad loser he is. He's so irritated. Even though he's cheated, he still hasn't won. There's Chief's lovely eyebrows again. I remember talking to Sue Pugh about this when I worked with her. She animated on this episode, as I say. And she remembers it, yeah, she remembers, oh yes, when they were all running. Even the thought of that, though, is kind of a nightmare for animators. Because I did an episode on Fifi and the Fowltops and on Rupert Bear when they're all running. Everyone loves a running episode, script-wise, but they're a pain to animate, obviously. Now, this is great. That is one of the best Weasel lines ever. Absolutely brilliant. What a stupid Weasel. Well, couldn't run all that way, could I? The Chief Butler saying, shut up, you. And that line was delivered by a wonderful voice artist called Jimmy Hibbert, who actually also is a scriptwriter and still writes scripts and does voices today. These were earlier days for him, of course, but Jimmy Hibbert, famous for many other roles in Duckula and Victor and Hugo, he played Victor. I mean, I've animated his voice. He was the voice of Stretchy in Little Robots.
Just before Toad came past me. So did I. Toad.
I thought he never passed me.
Oh, Toad.
Oh, look how guilty he looks now. See, again, the eyes. You know, sometimes there's no little movement in Toad. Like shots like this, obviously, he's much more flamboyant, and you want all that movement. But shots like that, when he's looking very down, kind of guilty and kind of sorry, it's all in the eyes. You know, it's all in those kind of little head movements and tilts here as well. Look, that blink. As the eyes roll, and then the cheeks follow. So it's all, you know, follow through. And Badger has such authority in the episode, isn't he? He's always authoritative, but he's... And these scenes, this is one of the most impressive scenes because you've got all the characters there, look at them all having to be animated, kept alive. Badger's had the dialogue, of course, but we're zooming in, focusing on Billy. And you've got all sorts of things going on. You've got Toad sobbing, you've got Chief Weasel whacking the other Weasel, and all the other characters kind of cheering Billy on. And another amazing thing about this episode, and actually Mark Hall told me about this once, and I think it was this episode he was talking about, that David Jason really impressed everyone because he did all three characters that he does, so Toad, Chief Weasel and Billy Rabbit, in the same scene. And there aren't that many scenes with the three of those characters, and this is certainly one of them. I can think of another one in Happy Birthday, a much later episode. And sometimes, yeah, David Jason would dub with himself, but more often than not, he would try and do the Weasels there and then one after the other, and then of course they're editing the spliced together.
However many Aloysiuses there were. We'll save you a potted meat sandwich, Toad, if we can.
This timing here. Almost a treble blink, and then Toad just golden. And look at that final. A wonderful episode. So yeah, love that episode. Such a classic, and I love episodes that, you know, embrace the outdoors. You know, yes, it's lovely to have episodes that are indoors a lot as well. There's a coziness about that, but you know, when the weather's nice and just a great idea for an episode. I mean, I've said yes, many series have an episode where the characters are running, it's like a sports day event, but I think it's just wonderful that you've got the weasels and Toad cheating because they are childlike. Of course the weasel's going to enter, and of course they're going to cheat, they want that cup as well. Ratty Mole and Badger, they wouldn't take part, would they? Of course they wouldn't. So it's just just beautifully constructed, wonderfully simple script, and it works, you know. And a lot of great one-liners in that. So, and there we are, there she is, Jackie Cockle. She did so many classic episodes, she really did. But then of course so did Barry Purvis, so did Chris Taylor, so did Francis Foes, and we've got many, many more to come. So I do hope you're enjoying these. Please keep the comments coming, I'm getting more and more subscribers, so I'm really, really grateful. And yes, again, let me know what you think. It's an interesting one to discuss, Paperchase, because there is a lot that happens in it, and I always think these episodes go so quickly, and I think, oh, I didn't talk about that and that, but yes, there is so much to discuss, so I will try and reply to as many comments as possible as soon as I can. So thank you. We've got one more for spring, would you believe? Lord Toad. Looking at Lord Toad, another Jackie Cockle episode from Series 4 actually, and another one of my absolute favourites. So that's next week, next Sunday. Please join me for that, and that, like I say, will finish off spring, and then we get into summer episodes as we head into June. So thank you very much once again, and I shall see you next week. Cheerio, and enjoy the weather.